Okay, good morning. We're gonna go over today some fun, like self-care things you can do to take care of yourself and work on some of the things that we don't normally work on. These will be fun things, and we're still gonna do stretch because I think this is important that we do stretch that opens up our understanding of how the body works and how we accidentally use it. And so we'll be starting in the lower body but working up. But we're going to do this little segue where we start in the face. So much of our life we don't realize because we've been masked for the last 2 years is facial expression. And once you lose facial expression, you start losing a huge part of communication. One of the things that Maria and I always talk about, and Maria can't be here today because she's off doing her important things, and they are important, is how facial expression is the fastest way to the prefrontal cortex, an activation of everything in the frontal cortex and consciousness base there. So knowing what your facial expression is doing is very important. So this is where we start, and it's going to be really basic. You're going to put your hands on your jowls. That's over here. We're going to stand with our feet parallel because we want all our tissues to line up. I want first, second, third chakras on. First chakra is your pelvic floor. Second chakra is your lower abs. Third chakra is your upper abs. Because we want everything to learn how to hang correctly. Draw your shoulder blades down and back. Chest is up nice and tall. You're sucking in that tummy. And then, once again, you'll put your hands on your jowls and you're gently elevating your tissue. You're feeling how much stress you have in your jowls, and I just want you to massage out those jowls. This is called your masseter muscle. It's an important muscle of mastication, and it is one of the strongest muscles in your body. Between the temporalis and the masseter, both of which cause you to bite your jaw down, it's the strongest grouping of muscles in the human body, and there's nothing stronger. I don't know who ever said the tongue was the strongest muscle. It's not true. Okay, lift it up. Just try to get the tension out of that area as you're simultaneously compressing to get any fluid edema out of the area that may have built up from sleeping. And now you're going to take it to the corners of your mouth and compress. This is part of your orbicularis oris and orbicularis risus that lift up your face into a smile. And if these muscles are not working or the tissue is adhesed, you're not going to smile so well. You're going to frown more than you smile. And we're just lifting everything up. Now, from here, we're going to go in between. It's called your ala nazi and your lateral aspect of your mouth. You're going to just massage, lift up. And you're just trying to create the upward lift so the fascia isn't carrying any tension. The muscles can activate. And then you're going to go along what's called your zygoma. You're going to massage along that because that's where the masseter attaches. When the temporalis goes underneath. So it can store a lot of tension right there. And then you're going to bring it up into your temples and you continue that lift compression. Keep your abs engaged, pelvic floor on, so you don't want to work transfer. Like I've said before, your face can carry more tension than any other part of your body because you have the masseter muscle and the temporalis. So you could take the work that should be in the pelvis and accidentally pull it into your face and your jaw. Okay, move it into your forehead. You're lifting up your forehead, compressing. Keep breathing. And then you can separate your eyebrows. All day long we scowl. No more scowling. You're going to learn how to smile without masks on again. I notice people have a hard time with it. I had a guy double take me because I smiled at him. He's like, "You're smiling at me?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm smiling at you." Okay, now you're going to take your fingers, put them under your eyes. Not on your eyeballs, but under your eyeballs, and you're just going to compress and hold. You can close your eyes, keep your jaw relaxed. And what's really nice is, even though your eyes are closed, look to the left, look to the right, up and down as you compress, so the eyelids get circulation and function that they need. Keep your abs engaged. This is still time under tension, so you're keeping your abs active. And you could get your upper lid, same thing, you're going to compress in and slightly lift up. You're going to make the surprised expression. Because your face needs to be warmed up too, so you can have a great day of smiling up. Okay, and just about now your arms are tired, shake them out a little bit. Okay, now you're going to grab your earlobes, you're going to rub your earlobes all along what are called the helix of your ear. All on top, just increasing microcirculation to the ears, and at the same time you're pulling it back. So gravity causes stress tension forward on the face, you're just pulling everything back. Keep your abs engaged. And now you're going to massage behind your ears. Like all the places your glasses make contact with your ears. You're going to massage out those areas. And then finally we're going to go into what are called suboccipital muscles back here. You're going to massage way back here. Abs are engaged, don't lose your abdomen just because you're working on your neck. And now you can work it into your scalp. You could use your fingertips on this. You can mess up your hair. It's Saturday, no one cares. So if you've done everything right, your whole scalp, your head, your face should feel invigorated. Now, you're going to grab your ball. You're going to put your ball under your chin. I'm going to walk in a little bit so you can see. Ball's right under my chin, and now I'm going to squeeze down on the ball. What I don't want to have happen is this. This is not a sit-up. This is you get to keep your chest up and you're going to push your chin into the ball. And we're working on the waddle underneath the chin. Just crush down. We're going to do about 20 or 30 of these. Keep your abs engaged. Just crush down, release, crush down, release, crush down, release. You're saying yes. Abs are nice and tight. And rest for a quick moment as you put now the ball in between your legs. You're just holding it there. It's not we're doing an exercise yet. You're going to go right here. This is your collarbone. You're just going to put your hand over the top of your collarbone. Right here, this is the collarbone. Put your hand on it. You're just going to lean away and open up what's called the platysma muscle. It's okay if you stick your chin out as you do it. This is a superficial facial muscle, but when you're under high stress, you could accidentally recruit it as a breathing muscle, and we don't want it to be a breathing muscle. It's a facial muscle. Smile up as you do this because it's countering why your face starts to frown as you get older. It's because you're using this muscle for breathing. Okay, we're going to do the opposite side. Put oh, I got the microphone. Hand on your scapula. You're doing the same thing. Pulling away, opening this half of your platysma muscle. Without knowing it, you're opening up a huge amount of lymphatics to your sinuses, to your face, to your throat, your ears. And good. Go ahead and shake out your arms again. Your face should feel very engorged with blood. It should feel very good. You're going to take your right hand, put it behind your left shoulder blade. Your chest is up, abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. And now you're just moving your head and neck around. If you feel a tight spot, work it until it opens up, because you can see now how that affects the tissues and how they hang, and therefore it'll affect facial expression. And as I said in the beginning, that will affect the frontal cortex or the prefrontal cortex as well. And this is involved with all sorts of executive functions and feelings of well-being. And if you can't smile up, you can't be happy. Okay, shake out this arm. We're just going to do the opposite side. Same thing, you're just moving your head and neck around. It's also telling you how your shoulder is affecting neck motion, and it shouldn't, but it does. And that's why you have to keep your shoulders open, to keep your neck open, to relax your facial expression. This is why people get tension in their shoulders. Abs are engaged. And good. Go ahead and shake out that arm, and you should be able to smile now as you're taking this ball and you're going to put it underneath your left foot. Oh. It's under the ball of your foot, this ball. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. We're going to mount your hips. Just get those hips forward first. Just see what it feels like to get the hips over the top of your feet, because the tightness in your calf is going to push your butt back, or it's going to cause you to tuck your tail, which is worst case scenario. We want you to push your hips forward with your abs engaged. First, second, third chakras are on. Suck in that tummy as we pump those hips forward. Maria and I were up until 1 a.m. moving stuff last night, so we're kind of tired and tight. Suck in your tummies. Okay, we're going to take it into a hip circle. Move from your hips. Smiles are up. Opposite direction. Ooh, someone's got poor circulation in the arms. Don't you worry, we'll take care of that. Let me just make sure my microphone is on. Okay. Okay, now you're going to bend and straighten your right leg. Keep your left leg straight. Make sure those knees go straight forward and straight back, and your feet remain parallel as we're opening up what's called the gastrocnemius. Keep your abs engaged. We want that transverse abdominis activated. Your lats are on. Especially when you're in this lowest position, it's easy to turn off your abs. I want you to keep your abs on. Okay, we're going to switch sides. You're going to bend and straighten your left leg. You're going to keep your ball on, your foot on the ball on the left side. Just feel what it feels like to bend and straighten your left leg, opening up what's called your soleus. Keep your hips forward, abs nice and tight. Okay? And then now, fun time, you're going to do a forward fold. Believe it or not, we're doing this for your neck and your shoulders and your face. You can cross your arms. We're going to hang out here for a little bit. Keep your abs engaged. We're stretching muscles and not joints. So if you feel any pressure in your low back, tighten your abs. Any pressure in your knees, tighten your quads and your calves. We forget that stretching is a contraction. It's called an eccentric contraction. It's a lengthening contraction, but it's still a contraction. Just keep hanging. Suck in that tummy. And then we're going to come back up again. Abs nice and tight. Suck in that tummy. Arms go over the top of your head. You're going to arch backwards as you pump your hips forward. I think about when we do moves like this, some of the useless toys I had as a kid, one of them was called, there was a whole series of them. They were called Super Toe. One kicked a football. I think one threw a baseball, but there was one that was a soccer, and he threw the soccer ball in. And it was this motion. So every time we do things like this, I think about Super Toe soccer player guy. Arms down. We're gonna switch sides. Ball goes under the ball of your left foot. Your feet are parallel. Abs are nice and tight. First, second, third chakras. You're gonna mount your hips first. Abs engaged. Keep those abs engaged. This is so important as you now pump your hips forward. One time when I was teaching in Santa Barbara, this guy was so tight and he had really sweaty feet that when he was doing this, suddenly the ball launched like a missile from underneath his foot. Okay, good. Abs are engaged. Keep those hips forward as you bend and straighten your left leg. Keep that transverse abdominis on. Don't let it hang out, especially at the bottom. You're also opening up your glute medius on the side here. We did all this beautiful work on your face. Try to keep that same lifted feeling on your face. Okay, now you're going to bend and straighten your right leg. Keep your left leg straight. This opens up what's called the soleus. Smiles are up. Suck in that tummy. Keep your hips forward. And good. Now, we do our forward fold again. Straight spine. No pressure in your low back. No pressure in your knees. Feel any pain in any joint, you're tightening up muscles because we're working muscles and not joints. Keep breathing. Okay, coming back up. You take your arms over your head to be like my little toy from childhood that would throw in the soccer ball. Hips go forward, arms go back behind you. Abs are engaged to protect your low back. No pressure in that low back. If you do feel it, you need to tighten your abs. You guys are doing awesome, by the way. And really think about how little we put our hands maximally over the top of our heads, except when something's on the very top shelf. And good. You're gonna come off the ball, you're gonna stand 2 feet on the ground, just see what the ground feels like after everything we've done. Make sure those feet are parallel. Okay? We're gonna take our block now. It's going to go underneath this foot, your left foot. You're going to take your right leg back behind you. You're going to be on tippy toe. We're going to keep the front leg straight, but make sure that knee runs over the top of your foot because we want to get the right part of your body. Then we're going to take this leg a little bit more across midline as you keep that knee running forward, and then take it a little bit more. Then you're going to push your hips back. This will give you a nice stretch in your glute minimus, glute maximus. Keep your abs engaged, you're sucking in your tummy, and you're really reaching forward, chest up, spine straight, no pressure into your back. You're gonna feel stretch in your butt, but not in the hip joint itself, nothing in your knee. You should feel it in the muscles of the hip, your glute max and that glute minimus. Suck in that tummy. Just a little longer. Straight spine. This should decompress your back a lot. Okay, then we're gonna come up. Nice and tall, abs nice and tight. If you can, you're gonna step over. We're gonna push that hip open. Now we're going after what's called the glute medius and a little bit of the tensor fasciae lata, especially if you push your hips forward, keep your abs on. Smiles are up. All that work to remove tension off your face. Okay, and now we switch sides. Block goes under the ball of your right foot. Leg goes back behind you first. Both legs are straight on this one. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. Just stretch. And then you're going to take your leg across midline. Abs are engaged. Suck in that tummy. Then you're going to take it across a little bit more. Try to keep your knee over the top of your foot. Oh, and now you're going to push your hip back to give you a nice stretch into the glute max and glute minimus. Abs are nice and tight. Smiles are up. Suck in that tummy. Oh. Good. Now you're going to take that leg across midline. Push your hips forward first, then push your hips over to the side. You should get a nice stretch in that tensor fasciae lata and your glute medius. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. Chest up. Try to level out your shoulders. Don't let them be like this. Let them be level. Hips forward. This can save you a lot of hip problems. Okay, go ahead and release. You're gonna stand on 2 feet again. Wow, you should feel kind of crazy forward because we're opening up everything that causes you to lean back onto your heels. We're moving everything forward. You should have your abs engaged as we start again at feet parallel, hips width apart. Hips width apart, ASIS. Pubic symphysis, midway in between, is hips width apart. So it's much more narrow than you think. We're gonna push down big toe and the corresponding metatarsal head, outer 4 toes and corresponding metatarsal heads, but especially that pinky toe. Then finally we can drop that heel down. 1/3 the way through the ball of your feet, 1/3 the way through your toes, and 1/3 through your heels. Chest is up, shoulder blades are down and back, you're sucking in your tummy. Feel the balance. We want you 66% forward and not so much in your heel. There's only a 33% in the heel. Abs are nice and tight. You're going to do a forward fold from here. Straight spine, knees are turned out, abs are on. Lift those arches. You're just going to hang out however far you can go down. You're breathing. Keeping your abs engaged. Really feel this. I know everyone wants to get away from the tension of the stretch. I want you to feel the muscles you need to get yourself closer to the ground. Especially in good form. You're going to bend your knees. We're going to come to halfway. You're in the recovery position now. We're going to do a couple quick sit-ups as you tighten your pelvic floor. Close up your rib cage. Suck in second chakra. You're drawing your belly to your spine, navel to your spine. Shoulder blades are down and back. Abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. Smiles are up. It's like you're in a huddle listening to secrets. Okay, we're gonna come up nice and tall once again. Interlock your fingers up over the top of your head. Rock from side to side. So in the animal kingdom, even if you're four-legged, the upper body, your shoulders and your arms don't carry that much weight. The majority of work should be done with the lower half of the body. So that's very interesting. Go ahead and release your arms. As bipedal, as humans, we walk on our feet. And so we shouldn't carry tension up in here, yet we do. We do it in terms of stress. So releasing the upper neck and shoulders is very important to get rid of stress patterns. So we're going to take your fingers, interlock them behind you. You're going to try to rip your arms apart. So they're trying to come apart this way. As you squeeze your shoulder blades down and back, and then forward. Down and back, and then forward. You're just going back and forth. Keep your abs engaged. Don't clench your butt. Don't lock out your knees. Do keep your abs tight. And then hold them in their most back position. And you're going to move your head and neck around. You can really see how the shoulders can affect cervical motion, jaw tension. And then, as you've also discovered, you see how the calves affect or shoulder positioning, which in turn affects neck and jaw. That's why when you're stressed out at work, fix your posture, stretch out your calves. And more importantly, start breathing. Good. Go ahead and release your arms. You're going to interlock them in front of you now. You're going to pull them apart. Chest goes up nice and tall. You're going to roll your shoulder blades down and back again. Keep your quads on. Keep your feet on. Your pelvic floor stays on. Your abs stay on. On this one, we're just going to hold now as you take your arms up over the top of your head as you're ripping your arms apart, and then back down. Abs are nice and tight. Suck in that tummy. Don't let any tension go into your face. Your face should be a gentle smile. Because the big secret of the day is today is Saturday. Okay, we're just going to flip those fingers over like you see in cartoons when piano players stretch out. You're going to do the same thing. There should be no pressure in your shoulders because we're doing a maximal activation of supporting structures of the shoulders, plus the abs, plus your legs, plus your feet. First, second, third chakras are always on. And now keep your hands up as you once again go side to side. We're opening up the thoracic cage. This is increasing so much circulation into those organs of your thorax, like your lungs, your liver, stomach, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, your thymus, and even your thyroid. And go ahead and put your arms out. For those that hang around small children, it's always hysterical to see. If we put our hands over the top of our head, do you see how much space I have around my head? I have an enormous amount of space around the head. If you get a child that's under the age of 2 and you have them do this same thing, their head fills in that whole area. Especially if they're only like 1 year old. It's just funny because the ratio of head to body is very different for a child. Okay, go ahead and put your knee on top of the block. Foot goes forward. I've talked about it before, but I used to work for a company called Stiff Necks, and we made isolation collars, but what we made there was really interesting was a pediatric collar. And we noticed that all the other companies were making a mistake. They took a cervical collar of an adult and just reduced it. And it didn't account for the fact that a little kid's head is about 5 to 1. You know, 5 head size to body size. An adult is closer to 10 to 1. So we made it for a little kid. So we had to make all different sizes because at different age points in their life, their head may be greater than 5 to 1 or less than 5 to 1. So it was just a fun little thing we found out. Abs are nice and tight. Head's over the top of the block. We're going to do our hip circles. Really open up the hips. Abs are nice and tight. This is why children, when they look down, can fall over. Because their heads are so heavy. If you've ever seen a baby look over the edge of a crib and just fall out, you're like, what just happened? It's because their head's so big. So as an adult, that should not be happening. And if that is happening, it means something else is going wrong, opposite direction. And that's why we're working on this. This is working what's called the righting reflex. So your head should not be moving. Keep your abs engaged. Okay, we're gonna stretch forward now. Suck in your tummy. Jaws are relaxed, smiles are up. You did so much work on your faces, you should feel glowing. Okay, we're gonna push back. You're gonna grab your ankle. Let's see, I'll angle off the side a little bit here. And you're just gonna go forward and backwards. As you're doing that, you're keeping your right knee over the top of your foot because we're obeying good mechanics. You're feeling tension in your quads, so you want to turn off your abs, don't do it. Keep your abs engaged. We're working time under tension, and we're trying to work muscles, not joints. So we're working that rectus femoris, and we're trying to keep work out of the low back because that's a whole bunch of little joints. We don't want it there. Suck in the tummy. Okay, good. Release that leg. Front leg crosses midline, and it's going to be straight. Toes pointed up. You're going to use your roller as you come across midline with your left hand going forward. Suck in that tummy. You should feel a nice stretch in your booty, your back. No pressure in your knees or low back. 5 more seconds. And 1, come back up. Yay! We're gonna go into our thinker pose. If you feel excessive pressure in those metatarsal heads, all it means is you have to push your heel back. Push it back. So we get more of a stretch in that plantar fascia and that junction between your Achilles tendon and your calf muscle. We're gonna stretch here for a moment. I want a really straight spine, abs are engaged, chest is up. It's like you're ready to take off, but you don't know when. You're gonna take your left hand over to your right knee, right hand on your butt cheek. You're gonna lift up tall as you rotate over to that away, to the right. Suck in your tummies. Suck, suck, suck in that tummy. Okay, come back to center. Here's where we're gonna get in our really compressed position. You're gonna take both palms of your hands, put them flat on the ground. Drop your head down. So we have to know how to flex as well as extend. This is going into deep flexion. Okay, then you're gonna take your arms up tall as you bring your leg forward. You can interlock those hands again. We're gonna lengthen. Abs nice and tight. You can rock side to side if you like. It's just fun. To take your head off of midline, off of that block, you have to keep your core on. So really suck that tummy in. Okay, we switch sides. Abs are nice and tight. You're doing hip circles. We're really opening up the hip joints, but more importantly, the muscles around the hip joint. Because when any one group gets tight, it causes false hip pain, or with time, it will eventually cause a hip problem, and we don't want that. Make sure that head stays over the top of the block. I crack up every time I say the word block because it reminds me of my childhood when I would watch the Gumby and Pokey show, and there were these two characters, the blockheads, and they were two blocks. Two people with blocks for heads, and they would sit with hammers and try to reshape each other's head. Go in the opposite direction. As an adult, I totally see how Gumby and Pokey and that whole genre of cartoons, stop animation cartoons, were actually a bunch of people taking drugs. Abs are nice and tight. Okay, we're gonna stretch forward. Oh, open things up. You can move your hips side to side if you'd like. This is lengthening that rectus femoris. It gets tight. So keep your abs engaged so that it doesn't pressure into your low back. You shouldn't feel this in your low back at all. So I got the camera set up so I could see if Wolfie came into, or you guys could see if Wolfie came into the room. Now she's not coming into the room at all. Suck in your tummies. And then take your left hand, grab a hold of your right foot, pull your heel to your butt. You're gonna pump that hip forward. You're gonna keep that left knee over the top of your left foot. You're stretching out this right rectus femoris. Your abs are engaged. So we stretch to maintain balance in our body. Because the biggest problem and the biggest thing that leads to pain and joint problem in the body is imbalance. Good. Release that leg back behind you. You're going to take your left leg across midline. You're going to reach forward with your right hand. We're creating a twist. So suck in that tummy. Feel that stretch. No pressure into any joints. Feel it in your joints, especially your knee or your back. Tighten your quads, tighten your hamstring, tighten your calf, tighten your abs. Fire up your lats, but get the stretch. Smiles are up. Ten more seconds. And good. Now you're going to go into our thinker pose. Again, if you feel excessive pressure in your metatarsal head, that's a good sign to push your heel back. Your abs are nice and tight. You're sucking in your tummy. Just feel what it feels like to stretch. No joint pain. You feel joint pain, that means something needs to be stabilized. Something got hypermobile. We work with dancers who desperately need to stretch, but they tend to stretch their joints, not their muscles. So we have to get them to figure out what muscles they have to activate in order to feel this stretch. Okay, so take right hand across to your left side, left hand on your butt, chest up nice and tall. You're gonna rotate. Suck in that tummy. Feel what it feels like to be tall. Feel what it feels like to rotate. Feel what it feels like to breathe. Smiles are up. And then we're gonna go and put our hands on the ground, looking a whole lot like the opening scene to the Terminator. You gotta know how to flex as well as extend. And you have to do it properly. Okay, now we're gonna come up. We're gonna stretch up once again. You can go side to side if you want. Okay, go ahead and release. We're switching sides once again. We're just going to do a little bit of stabilization work. Your left toes are off the ground. Your abs are nice and tight. Hands are, stick them up. You're just going to lift, hold, gently lower. This is time under tension. You're keeping your core on as you go on to stability. We've eliminated out the knee and the foot for your cheating, so you have to actually use your core, and that's why this can be really difficult for some people, especially at the beginning. Suck in your tummy. I had a friend from Jordan when I was in college, and his English was actually way better than mine. But he had one thing that was an oddity that he would say. Instead of the beginning, he'd always say the first beginning. We're like, as opposed to the second beginning? But it's something I've kind of adapted. If you're around me and Maria long enough, you'll hear me say, I've been mad at you since the first beginning. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Don't use your hands, just switch. Hope you didn't put your hands on your thighs to get up. Right toes are off the ground, abs are nice and tight. Keep your abs engaged since the first beginning. Don't fall off balance, especially notice if you always fall to your right. That's right, Annie. It's always to the right. Abs are nice and tight, suck in that tummy. One more. Woo! Okay, good. You're gonna come onto your knees. We're gonna put the block this way. So all of these you can absolutely do without the block. The reason we use a block is it just gives you more padding. So I was doing a class and I said we needed blocks, and I was at this studio and they had really cool equipment, except their blocks were made out of bamboo. It was, couldn't use the blocks. It made it kind of painful. So you're on the block, your toes are off the ground. Your chest is up, abs are engaged. We're gonna do what we did at the beginning, which is to pump the hips forward. Try to do it without clenching your butt. Pull it forward from your abs, shoulder blades stay down and back. Okay. Now that you can pump your hips forward, now we're going to get proper flexion into the hips. Keep your spine straight. Your butt's just going to come back. And then your hips are going forward. Butt goes back. Suck in that tummy. Smiles are up. Jaws relaxed. And good. Come into kneeling now. We're going to do it just because it's important. We're going to do a tiny, tiny bit of pelvic floor work, ball on top of block. You're going to have a seat on top of the ball that's on top of the block. And like the first beginning of class, we're going to tighten our abs. Shoulder blades are down and back. You're sucking in your tummy. You're going to contract your pelvic floor. Now you're going to suck in second chakra, close up rib cage. We're going to do some sit-ups here. So it's interesting, yesterday, I was talking to this woman who obviously has pelvic floor issues, and every time she gets nervous, she passes gas. And I don't know, I have this certain gift of making people nervous, so it was a whole time of passing gas. Draw your shoulder blades down and back, suck in your tummy. But at least I knew what I was going to work on. Suck in that tummy. So don't be that person. You should be able to get nervous and not have anyone know. Ah! I have been thrown ruthlessly to the ground. Abs are nice and tight. Gillen's camera just dropped to the ground. Keep those abs engaged. I want you to really feel this because this is so important and it's so easy to shut off during the day. It's interesting in martial arts and dance and stuff, we're looking for body tension. You want tension. This is where you get it. It's from your abs. You want to keep the extremities actually very relaxed, as we're actually going to play with that a little bit. We're going to move the extremities around. We're going to start with the right arm, but I want you to keep it tight through your abs, and I want you to move it around in various positions, mobilizing the shoulder with connection to the ab. So you can have core connection, you can have that tension in your abs without having tightness in your shoulders. And even though we're not using the ball like we have all week, notice how having the extremity this far away from your body displaces your balance, so you have to work your core. And this is why in elderly people, as they extend their extremities, they start falling over, or they don't extend their extremities, they reach out like that. Like here's their handshake, it's really tight to their body, because if they move it too far out, it causes them to fall off balance. Okay, other side, same thing. Notice if one side's better than the other. Keep your abs engaged. Okay, we're gonna do two together. Abs are nice and tight. You're conducting an orchestra that's like a mile away. Or you're landing like one of those Airbuses. Keep your abs engaged. Okay, go ahead and rest. And you should notice something interesting. Nothing in the human body has a single function. As we did that, it opened up a lot of blood circulation to the lungs, the throat, the thyroid, the thymus, liver, stomach, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder. As you stabilize your abs, with that motion, you are also assisting motion across your intestines and reproductive organs, kidneys, and bladder. So, it's pretty cool moving. You're gonna take your right arm forward, left arm back. Or sorry, take your right leg forward, abs nice and tight. Now you're gonna take your left hand forward, right hand back. Now you're gonna just move your arms, keeping the right hand behind you, left hand forward, abs are nice and tight, chest is up. You're breathing. See what it feels like to move in space in this nice contralateral pattern. Okay, good. We're going to switch sides. So yesterday, it was brought to my attention the roots of, okay, same thing, right arm forward, left arm back. Homo and homo. So we're Homo sapiens, that means we're like humans. And then homo lateral, meaning same. So same side. So I was talking to someone and it occurred to me as they said homolateral, I'm like, wow, it's the same spelling as homo, which is a Homo sapien. And I'm thinking about this in my head and I totally lost the conversation with them and they thought I was a crazy person. They're like, what just happened there? And I'm like, I was thinking of Latin roots, I'm sorry. Abs are nice and tight, moving it around, see what it feels like. Keep everything connected and active. Good. We're going to bring both feet forward now. You're going to move your extremities. See what it feels like to move from your core. You can move symmetrically or asymmetrically, but you're moving big. We were working with a dancer and we're like, we need you to be longer. And that takes a lot of strength. So we've been doing strength work so she could be long. And she got what we were saying. She's all, yeah, I'm very tall, but I also look so truncated in my movements. Because it's, again, like the old people syndrome. They don't want to move out if you don't have enough strength. You want to have enough strength to move out and seem really large and occupy space. And to be able to go upright into extension as well as into clean flexion. And keep your pelvic floor on at the same time. Hands go on your knees. We're gonna do a forward fold here. First, we're gonna go into recovery position to recover. Abs are nice and tight, you're sucking in your tummy. Hold on your abs, and once your abs are stabilized, now we're gonna go into that forward fold with your feet parallel, arches lifted, knees turned out, quads on, calves on, abs on, no pressure in your low back. Everything should feel a whole lot easier than when we started. Homogeneous. That means the same, like a homogeneous solution. Which brings another definition, the difference between a solution and a mixture. A mixture is something you mix together, but it can separate. A solution is once you mix it, stays together as whatever you mix or you put it together as. That used to bother me when I was in science. I bet you guys didn't even think about that today. Okay, we're coming on the floor now. We're gonna stretch our quads yet again. As we just lean back with our toes pointed, Annie's favorite. You're gonna lift up your knees. We're just gonna hold this for a few seconds. Suck in your tummies. And good. You guys have done a lot in that department. We're gonna take our ball. We're gonna put it under our left booty cheek. You're gonna cross your left ankle over your right knee. You're gonna roll out your left booty cheek. You can get the sides. You can get right on top of it. This is getting your glute max piriformis complex. Sucking that tummy. So this is a great one for relieving piriformis syndrome or sciatica due to tight piriformis muscle or clenching your butt. Sucking that tummy. See what it feels like to really roll this out. Jaws relaxed. See what it's like to have your knee lowered and your left knee lowered and your right knee, because that'll get this outside of your hip as well. Okay, and then we're gonna switch sides. Don't you worry, there's more to come with that. Balls underneath your right butt cheek, your right ankle's over the top of your right knee. I mean your left knee, and your right knee is below your left knee. That's what I meant to say. So I have this quiet fantasy that I act out a lot. I actually go to a hardware store and I look at all the equipment and I wish I had it. But more importantly, I wish I knew what to do with it. Roll out that butt cheek. Yeah, they have all sorts of cool equipment. And it all interchanges and attaches, and I'm like, what does this do? My favorite section is a whole section on nuts and bolts because things go together and they fit. And they each have a very specific little drawer that they live in. Okay, good. Now, we're going to take away this ball and we're going to grab our lacrosse ball. And we're going to put the lacrosse ball under your left butt cheek as you cross your left ankle over your right knee. And you're going to roll everything out. Yeah, so this last trip that I went to the hardware store, I went in this section and there's a section on drill bits. There are drill bits that'll make corners round. There's drill bits that'll make corners square. There are drill bits that make you can drill in the middle of a piece of wood, or you could clean off the edge of a piece of wood. There are all sorts of crazy drill bits. And again, I wish I knew what to do with them. But they're out there. It's nice that it's out there in the world, and we can have rounded corners. Because I guess there was a time in history when you could only have square corners. Square edges. Roll out that butt cheek. Remember, the pain you're experiencing in your butt has nothing to do with this ball. It has to do with you clenching your butt all week long and then putting the ball against it to point it out. And then we're going to switch sides. Keep your face relaxed, your smiles are up, because we did all that work to open everything up. Smiles are up. Woo! If you find a sore spot, get it. That is all sorts of stress you are storing in your butt that shouldn't be there, that needs to be in some other part of your body that could really use it. Suck in that tummy. Oh, yes. Ah, good job. All you're going to do now is lie on the roller lengthwise. You guys have done so much. I'm going to be smart and move the microphone before I lay down. Okay, once on your back, your head's slightly off the end of the roller, just slightly. So that way you can get your head over the top of your pelvic floor and maintain the cervical curve. But what we're going to do from here is get your feet parallel, knees over the tops of your feet. You're going to tighten your pelvic floor, close up your rib cage, and with your abs try to flatten out your lumbar spine, which seems contradictory, but it's teaching you how to activate your abs. Draw your shoulder blades down and back, and then you're going to do the lovely process of breathing. All that work at the beginning you can do again as you apply pressure on your face to reduce edema and stress in your face, open up your ability to smile, versus strengthening your frown muscles. Just open everything up. You could get your ears, you could get the back of your head, you could get your scalp. Just open everything up. Remember to breathe as you do this. This tells your body it's actually being given to you. And when you feel ready, you can just bring your arms to your side and start breathing. Feel what it feels like to breathe. You stay on top of your roller. I'm going to come off of mine just to bring you guys home. So what I learn every time I go into the hardware store is there is a tool for everything. But more importantly, there is a person out in this world that knows how to use that tool. And so the goal is to realize that you are an instrument or a tool in this life. And if you know how to be used properly, or you know how to use yourself properly, you could make a great contribution in the world that the world doesn't even know about. Or you could stay on the shelves like they were in the hardware store, and someone like me can walk by going, I wonder what that does. So feel what it feels like to come into your center knowing that there's a value to who you are and what you do. And your complete and fullest expression of that will allow the world an experience of a gift given to you from the divine. And in essence, they'll get to experience the divine. So that means no tool is better than another tool. No instrument is better than another instrument. No human is better than another one. But giving 100% of what you do and you were meant to do will give the world a divine experience. So feel what it feels like to be in your center, balanced, having reconnected to your facial expressions and facial expressions to face. Feel what it feels like to have opened up your hips and connected to your cores. You guys have done an amazing job today. And on behalf of Mari, who really wishes she was here, and me, thank you for being in our lives. Thank you for doing the crazy things we ask you to do. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being supportive and generous and abundant. We appreciate you very much, and namaste.